Welcome, welcome, everyone. Today I have as my guest Lorna Selig, Save for Life, who's the CEO. Lorna, tell us what you do.
So I teach self-defense and safety training to kids, teens, adults, seniors. So it's all about empowerment and showing up strong and confident. So you're less likely to be a victim or a target of somebody that's kind of got weird thoughts going on.
Yeah, it really does make a difference because as you present yourself as more confident, you certainly aren't a target for those that are looking for those that are less confident. So that's
Definitely.
a big part of it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, what we're here to do today is we're gonna, if you're willing, we're gonna share some insights about your seven optimister personality.
Awesome.
And how long have we known each other? You've known about the Enneagram.
Well, I was first introduced to the Enneagram, my God, probably 20 years ago.
All right.
But then just kind of dabbled in it kind of popped in and out of it. And then you and I met, what, about 3, 4 years ago?
Yeah, probably.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and that's when I really started, kind of taking a look at it and finding the fascination, I guess, in the different personality types. So
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with it.
yes, I'm all about fun.
Yes, no kidding. So for those of you who are going, the Ennea what? The Enneagram is a world-renowned model of personality. It has scientific data on the patterns of personalities, and so it gives very, very specific information on relationships and traits and strengths and challenges, and it it really helps you to understand others as well. How is that been for you, learning the nine different types in your business or in your personal life?
Well, for me, so before I was introduced to the Enneagram, I didn't really have any context, I guess, for understanding and kind of making sense out of um, the messages, I guess, that people were telling me or showing me. And so I didn't. Without any explanation about why people were responding to me or why I was responding to them in certain ways, it's just really kind of a crapshoot, right? You're sort of
Yeah,
shooting in the dark, hoping for the best.
yeah.
And with the Enneagram, you can direct your intention a little bit better.
And manage your own patterns, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
others. So
Yeah.
we're going to delve into the seven optimister, and the traits of these seven optimister is that as I posted in the diagram or in the box, is that seven optimisters are spontaneous, they're fun, they're upbeat, they've always got stuff going on. There's lots happening. They like lots of options. You thrive with change. Is there anything you'd add to that?
I like action.
Yeah,
I don't do very well sitting still with nothing going on. Me personally, I have to create activity, whatever that is. Yeah.
yeah. So it's always, how do you manage things? Like the optimisters I know, we call you have monkey minds, you're multitaskers, you've
Mhm.
got lots of things going on. There's even people who, when they read books, have two or three books going at the same time. Can you identify with that?
100%, 100%. Or when I have a program, let's say I'm doing an online webinar or something, I can do two or three or four at the same time. I I tend to be a really awesome starter of things. I can get stuff stirred up really, really quickly and get, passionate about it and really excited about it. I don't always do so great at the finishing. Um, I sort of get to a point, and then if it's not fun or exciting or engaging me anymore, I kind of go, meh, next, right?
Well, that's that shiny object syndrome,
Yep,
right? Something more exciting comes along.
yep.
So that's one of the challenges. Um, the information on the personality is that it's formed by about the age of 7 when you look out on your family of origin and you decide you need to be a certain way, play a certain role. You form patterns and beliefs that become your identity. When did you become aware of your happy disposition?
My happy disposition. Um, so I I think as a kid, I was pretty lively, but I was also quite shy. So uh, I had, sort of time when I was quite withdrawn and quite, sort of reserved. But I think I was always sort of mischievous and kind of had that spark of spontaneity and quickness. My older sister was very calm. She was very cerebral, very intelligent. My younger sister, when she was young, she was quite ill with several different sort of conditions and afflictions and stuff. And so my role was kind of, I oftentimes felt like I was sort of that dance in the middle.
Mhm.
And I think, sort of as I kind of moved through, junior high and high school and kind of, sort of started to make my own path, so to speak, I think um, I don't know that I ever really sort of said, "Oh, here I am. I'm spunky and spontaneous." But
Mhm.
but I certainly had the capacity to kind of round up a group of people and sort of move in, whatever direction and influence and sort of kind of create action, so to speak.
Do you ever feel responsible for bringing people up? Like if you know
Yeah.
someone having challenges, you mentioned in your family the dynamics, one peaceful sister challenges health-wise the other. Did you feel that was your role a lot of time?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
lots
that's
of
what
times. And,
personality
and
is
you know,
like.
and I was the cheerleader and um I also I think though, I did recognize that, my parents were um um like I think they felt to a certain extent that was they understood that I felt like I needed to do that, and so
Mhm.
they were quite sort of understanding of that, and didn't put pressure on me about that. But there was times when I was very much sort of hauled down off the chair and quit dancing kind of stuff, right?
Oh, I bet you mentioned that.
I
We,
know.
you are known for that. Rah, rah, on top of the chair, music
Yes,
playing.
yes. I've
Oh,
had my moments.
yeah, we've had some together, and that's been a lot of fun. What I envy about Seven Optimisters is you seem to lead such a joyful life. How do you maintain that? Is it natural? Does it just flow?
It's just like for me, I just it just comes out, right? I think part of it is about um I like to have, again, I like to have that movement, and when there's I enjoy sort of bringing people along with me.
Mhm.
Sometimes I feel sort of responsible for it. Sometimes I feel dragged down when I'm, trying so hard to bring it all up. But, for the most part, it's just part of how I see the world. It isn't, um, it's not often, one of those traits or one of those habits that's necessarily forced. It just kind of happens.
Mhm. Yeah, it's so you're not conscious. It just
Not always
evolves. Yeah,
conscious of it.
yeah.
Yeah. And
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 that's what our personality is. It's
yeah.
the unconscious patterns that are running us. And for the sevens, you have a lot of positive traits.
Yeah.
What
And
happens when you get bored?
I stir something up. I do, quite honestly. So whether that's, come on, let's go for a walk, or let's go, you know, now, having said that, I do have moments where I sort of go, okay, it's a Netflix night, where I'm just wound down, and then I can crash sleep, in minutes.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of going along. Oh, okay, tired. Boom, and down I'll go. Right.
What does your tired look like? Because you guys are generally seven optimisters are really high energy,
Hmm.
and you can maintain that high energy naturally for yourselves.
Hmm.
So, what does crashing look like?
What does which look like? Sorry,
When you crash.
crashing. Quite honestly, it is sleep. and
Mm,
and I can sleep quickly, and I can sort of come down really fast and be out. I'm the world's greatest sleeper.
nice,
Um, it's a and then I wake up and I'm ready to go again. Like I can wake up at 5 in the morning and just hit it running.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
I know that each personality has their own energy, and for people who don't understand what energy is, it's the vibe that people give off. The peace seekers they're slow, even keel. They're very grounded. The sevens are up. 8 asserters have very strong personality, leadership. 2 supporters like us, where we have the energy of leaning in and helping and nurturing. How have you found that your energy affects other people?
So I can, like I say, I can bring people along. I can inspire and sort of raise people up. I think I also have the capacity to exhaust people.
Yeah.
Because so I get energy from people. I get inspired by people sort of around me. And I know for some people who are more withdrawn, like, 6s or whatever, I can be exhausting, and I can be too um, too sort of in their face. But it's interesting because I recognize that, in my, more mature state. I don't think I knew that before, quite honestly, when I was younger. But as I get older and get, sort of, well, just more mature and more wise, clearly, I,
Clearly.
I can, I can notice when it's time to step back, and I can also notice when it's okay to ramp it up a notch. And so being able to control that and manage that is, I find, very powerful for me. Yeah.
And that's what the Enneagram does. It shows you the patterns and traits of every personality, so you can build that connection. You've now built an awareness that, say, for 5 contemplators, they get drained being
Mm-hmm.
around groups of other people, and they need to go off by themselves and recharge, whereas 7 optimisters generally are charged by being
Yeah.
around other people. Your partner is a 6 questioner.
Yeah.
And so 6 questioners are more, they're more looking for safety and security. They're looking to make sure that things are handled, that they're
Stable.
prepared for anything and stable. They can be somewhat worriers and
Yeah.
fear-based. And as a 7 optimister, you could wing, and what that means is the personality beside your wing. How do you build common ground with your partner as you high energy and they are looking for more stability?
So we have moments, obviously, where, he he needs to sort of, wind me down, and I consciously need to sort of say, okay, down I go. Um, and but I still take that role of sort of Susie Sunshine, right? So he's, worrying about something, struggling with something, has something on his mind, where he's, ruminating about something lots of times and perseverating about something. And I'll just, throw in these little, oh, well, it'll get better. Let's do this now. And what about this? And then I can also recognize, that this is a moment where he needs to have that moment, and my job needs to become a supporter, and where I can lean in and sort of say, okay, well, so, I hear this is going on, what and I recognize that I don't need to fix it. One of the things about, and I don't know if this is a 7 trait, but sometimes I like to come up with solutions. Well, let's try this, right? And I really need to recognize that that's not always my job with him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think our balance is pretty good. I think, I think, we recognize when we're sort of, doing this one. But it's interesting because we really work well together in our business, because I'm the one that's out there, kind of doing the thing and flying the flags. And he's the one that, he's like Schroeder, in Charlie Brown comics, he's on Schroeder on the piano, kind of hunched over. That's Bob on the computer, right? So he does that, he does all of our back end, and he's brilliant at it. Me, I just couldn't do that to save my life, nor could he be out doing the speeches and the presentations and the marketing like I do in the business. So it really is a good match.
I love that you recognize that. I can remember conversations that we had when you were saying, well, what do you think my partner is? What his personality is? And then we talked about that. And I remember you saying, oh yeah, that's so him. Just identifying the traits and understanding what's important in couple dynamics is that space where we do have differences.
Yeah.
I did a survey, and the frustration for couples is they have personality differences. You see the world differently. The challenge is, what do you do with those differences? And a lot of couples fight about those without coming to solution if they don't understand the personalities. And the fear is that it can break them apart, and it definitely can. So it's really, really important for couple dynamics to value your similarities, know what your differences are and your trigger points, and to work on those. And that's how I loved how you have an awareness of, I know my role is not this, and I need to allow him his own process.
Yeah.
Love that. That's what works in a relationship.
Well, and I sort of say my world is like a collage, right? I got everything going on, and his world is like a spreadsheet. Like everything's listed, everything has a process. I mean, it's crazy, but it works. Like it's a pretty interesting, and you're right. It is that awareness piece of it, Eileen, knowing this is how he sees what's going on. This is how I see it. I don't have to make him see it my way. It's okay that he sees it different. It's not right or wrong. It's just different.
And you bring the gifts of each of that, if you allow that.
Yeah.
You bring the gifts of those strengths together.
Yeah.
A lot of people who haven't done the self-development thing, you need to be like me.
Yeah.
Therefore, you'll love me. Therefore, you'll accept me. And really, I'll tell you, life work opens up when you allow the differences in, when you acknowledge people for their differences and for who they are, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So what do you have? What sort of advice do you have for the rest of us who aren't always up? How can we, it's kind of a big question, but, how do we help ourselves see life more positively?
Well, I think everything is about perspective, Eileen, right? So I'm, looking at a pen, right? I see it, on this side and it looks like this. You see it on that side and it looks like that. And I think, when I look at this pen, I can think, oh my God, it's a pen. Oh, geez, that's boring. That's hard. That means work, whatever. Or I can see, wow, that's a pen. That's creativity. That's, wow, I can write my thoughts, right? I can, think of the inspiration that comes when the writing flows. And I think when I always choose to look at possibility and lightness of stuff. I think when we can bring, levity and humor and enthusiasm into a situation, I think everything changes. It's like the lights come on, and I use lightness and my 7 energy, if that's what it is, in my business, because lots of my business is about, it can be dark, right? People are being hurt. People are being, sort of horrific things happening to people. And my approach to that is, yes, this is serious stuff, but we can look at it in a way that is empowering and life affirming and confidence building. It doesn't have to be dark and deep and heavy, because that is, that's, for me, that's exhausting. And I get that it's not exhausting for everybody, but I think, we are always further ahead, and always more inspiring when, when we're shining. And, and so I just try to bring that energy and that shine in, in all of my interactions, whether that's personal or in my business. And so.
I do see that with your business, and I admire that. You show people the possibilities of being safe. You
Yeah.
show people the possibilities and the options for creating safety
Yeah.
for them by taking these steps, by taking a self-defense course,
Mm.
rather than focusing on what might
Yeah.
happen if you don't, right?
Yeah.
And I have to say your classes are fun. Like it is,
Yeah.
they are, you know, they are really fun and empowering.
Yeah. Yeah. And people come away having feeling, enriched and enlightened and empowered and confident and uplifted. And
Mm.
that's exactly the message that I want to leave people with. I don't want to leave people with fear and with worry and, thinking there's an attacker behind every tree.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't matter if there is. It's
yeah,
about, how do I present myself so I'm not a target for that, creep, right?
yeah. Well, what I love about the Enneagram is it shows us 9 different perspectives and ways of being in the world, and we need to incorporate all of those into us to become full and empowered. And so, your insights help us to understand we can change our mindset. We can be more positive, and I've certainly done that. I've borrowed from the 7 optimisters patterns so that I can be more positive, more uplifting, look at the possibilities. And so I thank you for that. And I'd just like to add that I've got lots of things. I've got a brand new website, and that is my the site there. And I'd invite you to go over and have a look at it because I've got lots of options. I'm going to be doing personality readings, and I've got contests coming up, etc. There's lots of resources to lead a fuller life, as you have done by embracing understanding the Enneagram and how it's benefited your life.
Well, thank you, Eileen. I really I appreciate your insight to all of this. I think, we've got a couple of options. We can just kind of go through life, bumbling along and hoping for the best, or we can go through life with some education and information that helps us to shape our experiences in a way better way. And quite honestly, that's what you've done for me since I've known you is encouraging me to embrace my personality style and recognize that it is what it is. And you've really helped me to make adjustments and make considerations for people around me so that I can just kind of live more richly. And I mean, that's what it's about, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely is. I mean, learning my Enneagram was life-changing for me, and
Yeah.
it allowed me to thrive. So thank you for being on the broadcast and sharing your insights. And I look forward to many more dancing on the chairs and playing the music type. We'll see you soon. Bye,
Take care,
Lorraine.
Eileen. Thank you.